choose restraint, another chooses pursuit. What you dismiss as waste, someone else transforms into value. We all make attempts in life. We decide, and then we live with the consequences of those decisions. We spend our time, only to ask for more when it is already gone. Everything has an endpoint, and when you reach the end of the rope, clarity arrives too late. By then, the character you built in public has hardened. You cannot abandon it. So you continue the performance, even in your most unnatural moments, just to silence questions, to keep watchful eyes from turning suspicious. Teacher Anne seemed older, though not necessarily with age. Many teachers carried that same quality, an odd stillness, as though time had paused somewhere in their lives. The faces I remembered from primary school looked almost unchanged a decade later. There was something quietly admirable about it. Still, I rejected the idea for myself. I would never become a teacher. That Monday, Teacher Anne stopped mid-explanation. She set the chalk down and walked between the rows, her steps measured and calm. In the second row, 4 girls were drifting into sleep. Farther back, a boy sat upright, but something about him was off. His eyes were open, fixed, unblinking. Even as she approached, he did not react. Sleep had claimed him completely. A faint snore escaped him, and a thin line of saliva trailed onto his collar. A few students noticed. Then more. Laughter began to build. Without a word, Teacher Anne placed a piece of chalk into his open mouth. He jerked awake, coughing violently. The room erupted. Even the drowsy snapped back to life, laughter rolling from desk to desk. "Go outside and wash your face," she said, her tone controlled. He stumbled toward the door as the laughter followed him, swelling before gradually fading. Teacher Anne returned to the front, pausing beside the blackboard. "Who scored a first grade in the Senior 3 promotion exams?" Hands rose, mostly from the front rows. None from the back. I sat there again, the last row. The pattern hadn't changed. Another year at Midland felt like a repetition of Senior 1. A few familiar faces had crossed from west to east, but the structure remained the same. Joan sat somewhere in the middle column, Queen within range of a passing glance. Sarah on the left no longer held my attention. "Only one hand from the back," Teacher Anne said, her surprise barely concealed. My hand was raised. To the class, it meant little. To me, it meant everything. This was not going to end the same way. A voice within me settled into certainty. Like astronauts who commit to the unknown, whose efforts carry weight simply because they persist, I understood the assignment. If Midland was my space, then this was my launch. Teacher Anne continued, "You are now O-level candidates, students of the East. It is said that wise men came from the East. Do not reverse that legacy. This is your time. And time does not wait." She let the words settle before continuing. "Education is a race. Lose your pace now and others will pass you without warning. The pandemic came and went. Now you rebuild. That responsibility is yours." When the lesson ended, I stayed behind while the others went for lunch. Physics demanded more from me. I gathered my books, settling into the silence. There was a long road ahead, but growth does not fear distance. It adapts. The classroom door opened. 2 girls walked in. Familiar. They had joined Midland only a week ago. One carried a light complexion, balanced in build and height. The other, striking in a quieter way, had large, observant eyes and a composed presence. I would have remained focused, but the first girl interrupted. She knocked my books off the desk. "Sorry," she said quickly, crouching to pick them up. The apology felt rehearsed. "I thought it was a joke when someone said girls named Kayla always caused trouble," she added, almost playfully. "Now I'm not so sure." I watched her stand. There was something deliberate in her voice, especially in the way she constructed her words. I allowed a small smile, but held my silence. Better to let her reveal herself. Her friend had already taken a seat at the front without looking back. "I'm Marian," she said, "from a single-sex school." There was more behind that introduction. I could feel it. Something layered, something worth uncovering, a new world. "When you raised your hand in English class," she continued, "we thought you might be worth knowing." I met her gaze, steady. "I'm Ronix," I said, "and I don't disappoint." Chapter 14.